welcome back to another video. In this video, I would like to discuss some thoughts that I had regarding playing a Napoleonic campaign using the Blucher rule set, the wargaming rules, and this board game here, the Days of Glory campaign series, Germany 1813. Now, I've had this game from Hexasim a long time, and it's one of my favorite games of all time. It's got a really great series of events that happens, of movement, of tactical battles, of campaigning, of holding river crossings, denying cities, fortifications. It's got a lot going for it in a campaign sense, and I've played it several times just as the base wargame. And one of my favorite rule sets for wargaming is the Blucher rule sets by Sam Mustafa. And I figured that I'm going to try and figure out a way of combining this campaign system for moving your armies and corps around the map and the Blucher rule set to substitute for the tactical portion or the tactical battles in this set. Now, in this game, the tactical battles are like a math equation. Essentially, you add up different numbers, you add your modifiers, your leadership, your morale, blah, 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 and then you find out, you roll on a d6 chart and you find out the casualties you've taken, you roll again, you find out the casualties the enemy have taken, and you do this over a series of turns. So you have a morning, afternoon, evening, and night phase, I think, and you roll each time for each one of those phases. Now, in between those phases, you have the opportunity for reinforcements to arrive, for various things to happen. The players also get to use these cards, for some flavor. And although it's mainly a campaign game where you move around your armies on a map, the tactical system is actually pretty neat. But I figured that would be a great way of crossing over into miniature wargaming. And I'm just going to pause here for a second and get down to the map, and I'll show you what I mean, and then we'll talk. So here is half the map. I have it folded in half, but this is half the map just so I can show you what this campaign game is like. Again, it's from this game here. Now, this map is ingenious for a number of ways. It's also very cluttered, so you can see lots of different things going on here. But if you just concentrate on a certain area of the map, the rest of it doesn't seem to matter. And that's how this, the genius of this map is. Once you're playing around and you're moving your forces around, all the colors and all the different lines and squares just melt away. You don't see them. You're focusing on the river. You're focusing on the fortresses along the river. So you've Leipzig, you've Dresden. You've the Austrian border is down here. And when you're playing a Napoleonic game, essentially, you'll gather your forces. So I have gathered here for the Prussians. I'll just show you a quick example. I've got Blucher with the 2nd and 3rd Prussian Corps. And let's say you put those guys, we'll say up here in Torgau, even though there would be a French garrison there. You put them there. You've got the Russians under Wittgenstein. He's coming in 2 different columns. We'll say he's got one column in Dresden, and then he's got another column in, let's just say, Leipzig. The French, we're going to have Murat here. The French, they enter. He's got 1, 2. He's got 2 infantry corps here in Weimar. That's him. He's got 2 infantry corps here in, we'll say, if you can see down here, Saalfeld, and a cavalry corps. Now, in the game, let's just say, this is just an example. In the game, you spend your turns moving your units around. So, French will go first. He's going to move him here and here and here, heading towards Lutzen, which is right there. And he's going to have his other column move up here, but because of the difficult terrain and the major roads, they're not going as fast. Then the allied player, he might decide, I need to help out. We're going to have a battle, and he'll move at 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever the movement points are. We'll just put them there for now. So this is how the campaign is played, and you just keep playing this cat and mouse game of, trying to get your armies to combine. Now, you can't have a huge stack. The French can't just have this one big stack just stomping its way through the European countryside. It physically has to have, there's a limit to how many cores can be in one square. So you're kind of always spread out like this. But then when battle happens, let's just say battle happens here, the French move into Lutzen, and the Allies, let's say the Allies are here and here, the French are here, you can declare, I'm going to attack. I'm going to have a battle here at Leipzig. So you can have Murat and his column physically try and take Leipzig and move into the same thing, and then the Allies or the defender has a chance to withdraw or accept the battle. If they decide to accept the battle, then what you do is you flip over your forces, and you have Murat with the 2nd and 3rd Corps against the Russian 6th Corps and Platov's Cossacks. So that's kind of a one-sided battle. So why would the Russians accept that battle? Well, because they have forces nearby. They have columns nearby. And in the game, you have a chance to roll for the sound of the guns. And depending on how many squares away the column is that you're trying to call in, and what kind of road connects it, like a solid road here is a paved road, and then you have these like little lighter roads here, which are dirt roads. Depending on a number of factors, you can call in columns, and then you have to roll off, and then maybe, let's say this column does arrive in, so Blucher hears the sound of the guns, and he's aggressive, and he'll join, and he'll add his 2 corps to there, but Wittgenstein, he fails his roll, he doesn't get in, but the 2nd column down here, it does. So what you end up having is a pretty cool, not historical battle, but a pretty cool alt history battle where Murat with 4 infantry corps and a cavalry corps is fighting against Blucher with 3 infantry corps and a cavalry corps. And then you do your roll off and you get a result, and the loser retreats back X amount of squares, and the French, or the winner, occupies the space, can try and pursue. There's a roll off. Now, I've played this game several times and I love it. I think this map is great. I think the chits are great. The tactical math equation is pretty nifty. It's pretty cool. So much so that I actually physically printed off this little field, and I would put my cores here on the map just to visualize it a little bit, and I'd fight my own little battle. Now, one of the cool things about it is that although Murat and the Russians are fighting, they fight first. So for the morning turn, they're engaged in the morning turn, and they'll fight their own little battle. And then as the afternoon turn comes in, you roll on to see when Blucher arrives. Well, so Blucher will arrive on turn 2. Well, he comes in on turn 2 and he starts really pressing the French. French are starting to crumble, but the French reinforcements come on turn 3, and the battle evens out, and there's a bit of a slogging fest. All these things, the movement, the reinforcements, the strength points, I believe can all be equated to the Blucher series of rules. And if you've never seen this game before, you've never tried it, I urge you to give it a go. I'm going to try it this summer coming up. I'm going to do my campaign in Germany 1813. I'm currently already painting up some Prussians, because I don't have any. So I'm painting up some Prussian 6mm figures to go with my Russians and French that I already have, and I'm going to try and play the early campaign of 1813. So that's the spring campaign, so the Battle of Lutzen, Bautzen, and so on. And then, depending on how much painting I get done, I might add the Austrians in, do a full-on 1813 campaign. But that's my plans for this coming spring and summer. Over Christmas, I'm going to plan it out. I'm going to see how far I get in getting the rules together. But I don't think it should be a really big deal. Blucher, if you're familiar with the rules, they have an elan value, between whatever 0 and 10. And that is basically encompasses your strength points, your morale, your leadership, your equipment, and the size of your units. Now that is also one of the fundamental things about Blucher, but in this game here, you also have such a very similar layout for your units. So for instance, the first corps here under Berg, he can have up to 5 strength points. And now in this game, I think each one is 5,000 men. and each cavalry, I think, is 2,500. I can't remember exactly. So if Berg is full strength here, he has a 25,000 man corps in the first corps. Now, because of this, and the way Blucher land system works, I'm pretty sure I can easily change over this to be brigade size. There's 5 brigades in this corps, there's 4 brigades in this corps, blah, 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 blah. And that's how I think I'm going to do it. And when the tactical battles, when they meet, I'm going to do a Blucher, set up a Blucher's game and fight the battle out. And the type of terrain that I'll be fighting over will either be wooded, clear, or hilly, rocky. So everything that you need to play your Blucher games is laid out here. And I know Blucher already has the Scharnhorst system, and I've played that, and it works fine, but that's more for a kind of a Waterloo campaign. Straight up the road, things coming in from the wings. But for Germany, 1813, I think that might be a little bit too focused. So anyway, I hope that made sense to you and you understood what I'm trying to do here, but that's just a really quick video on the Days of Glory, Germany 1813 rule set. I'm going to convert it into a campaign with the Blucher game as the tactical battles. And I hope you join me for that. I'm already started on it. I've already got about 200 figures painted for it, along with the several thousand that I already have from previous videos you'll have seen. And we're going to do that January, I think. So anyway, I hope you join me then, and expect more on this subject in the coming weeks. All right, bye-bye.